Welcome back to the Seven Deadly Sins Anime Review Episode 46. This is reviewing the 92nd episode of the 4th season of the... it's 92nd episode of the series, but it's still part of Dragon's Judgement, the 4th season of the anime of Seven Deadly Sins, the final battle. And this episode surprisingly adapts from 6 chapters. When I saw it, I'm like, really? 6? Wow. That is something, because I think the highest they've actually done so far that I can think of is usually 4. But 6? Well, there's a good reason why. Because stuff goes really, really quickly over the course of these chapters. You have like 3 different things going on in this episode. You have Meliodas and Elizabeth versus the Demon King. You have most of the 7 Deadly Sins, minus Escanor, fighting another demon on the other side of the country. And you have Escanor fighting one of these things that's connected to the other. In the case of, Meliodas versus the Demon King, this basically is the main plot point of the episode. Everything else is basically like a side thing. Though at least they wrap up the battle with the intricate demon. Yes. Where they pretty much have it. Now, Bond was not necessarily at first, and he shows up like right after that. They do not show the manga basically this, but in the anime they do this. Now, basically, they're having a tough time dealing with these little spores, these gigantic spores that can spread over the country. They're basically back and forth. King basically wants to use a sunflower, but obviously with the countryside. But look at Bond shows up using his special nunchucks. That's literally what these things are. It's basically a sacred weapon. A sacred treasure. So he unlocks it and pretty much eviscerates the whole thing. Its power source is super concentration. He eviscerates all one of these things. And luckily enough that the Holy Knight trio, the one who basically has been seeing the series and started, basically tried to battle this damn thing. And then luckily enough that Escanor shows up, a powerless Escanor, who tries to battle it, and of course he gets stabbed multiple times. And now here's the thing, in the manga, the way he looked before this moment he gets saved by Mel, this actually was a big change. In the manga, the guy was basically on death's door. The guy lost his arm. He was a mess. A lot worse than he was in the anime. Like, anime, yeah, he was basically like a bloody and bruised, like, definitely near death. They basically kept in the actual stab wound he got from the actual tongue. Look how the creature is destroyed by Mel, who shows up in the nick of time. And of course, Mel basically acknowledged the fact that the Escanor can answer his prayers, but he can't cook and fight Demon King. And of course, Escanor says, well, I'm not asking to fight Demon King, just let me the power. And he's like, well, your body basically is the limit, so I don't know. Just let me do this one last time. He's like, fine, but you'll die from this. And he's like, I'm fine with that. Yeah, because he says he wants to leave a lasting legacy. Basically, the way he's described, he wants to leave a legacy for the youngsters, basically the Holy Knight trio, because he's already in his 40s. Though Bond is a little bit older than he is by about a couple of years. And that's it for that. And then, of course, then we see the actual brawl between Demon King, possessed Denros, and Meliodas. This is most of the same, except they make a couple changes here. Like, for instance, they refer to Ellie in the manga as Blood-Soaked Ellie, as a nickname that I believe the Archangels have for her. In the anime, they changed it to Bloody Ellie, probably a reference to Bloody Mary, because she basically eviscerates the Demon King. Yeah, and then of course eventually goes to almost his true form. Well, basically his former youngster self. As for Zedros, well, something interesting happened with him. They made a slight visual change here with him. When you first see him inside of the head of, his own body, in the manga, he had his face basically leaning against Glinda's chest. In the anime, his face is buried in her chest. Yep, they made that change. Probably because it's mentioned later on by Meliodas that, oh, Zedros, are you a breast man? Yes, he actually said that. And it's like, oh yeah, it's all an illusion. And you think that Zedros is basically going to die. He really doesn't. Don't worry about it. And then basically after launching multiple attacks on him, and then all of a sudden the 7 Deadly Sins show up, basically destroying the demon off screen, mind you. And he's like, yeah, we're here to help, and we're going to basically take him on. All the here except for Escanor. He comes a little bit later, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's literally what happened this episode. Yep. The first episode you see is Gother. Yeah, he's the first one you see. Other than then, of course, is Deanne, King, Bond is seen a little bit, along Merlin, pretty much everybody except for Escanor. And pretty much we're sitting at the very end of this particular arc. Now, who knows how far they can go through next week of the actual episode, but time will tell. The arc itself has got roughly 14 chapters left to adapt. And how many left for the end? How many left in the manga? 26. Yep, 26 chapters left. Yep. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this particular review. Yep. Yeah, pretty much what I just discussed here. That's literally what happened in the episode. It's a great episode, good action piece. We're basically gearing toward the very end of this arc. I wouldn't be surprised it's wrapped up in the next 3 episodes. Yep. So, tomorrow, expect to see reviews for Shaman King and How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. Okay, to the next video. Bye.